Hi, and welcome to the Access Direct Opening Bell, your essential pre-market podcast. In just minutes, get key global updates, overnight trends, and market-moving factors that set the tone for the day. Whether you're a seasoned trader or just someone tracking the markets, this is your go-to briefing to stay ahead at all times. So let's dive straight in.
Good morning, everyone. It is Tuesday, and we will start with US stocks, which jumped yesterday on optimism that targeted tariffs from the Trump administration will be more contained. The S&P 500 rose 1.8%, while the Nasdaq 100 and the Dow rallied 2.2% and 1.4% respectively. The equal-weighted S&P erased all of its losses for the year. Expectations are that the tariff-related announcements coming on April 2nd are likely to target countries than specific sectors, and that has fanned investor optimism recently. Meanwhile, several strategists on Wall Street are of the view that the worst of the recent volatility is behind us. Coming to markets then, the VIX dropped for the fourth day and finished below 18. The dollar in the 10-year treasury yield rose. Bitcoin advanced over 3%. Gold fell for the third straight session but was still about $3,000 an ounce, while oil held gains near $70 a barrel as President Trump threatened to impose 25% tariffs on nations purchasing Venezuelan oil. At home, the rupee rose for the ninth straight day and finished 35 paise higher at 85.63, which was its highest level since December. Yesterday's rally was the third biggest daily advance for the currency so far this year, with strategists saying that the rally is typical of what generally happens in the second fortnight of March. In data, India's economic activity slipped slightly in March due to a slowdown in the services sector, while manufacturing activity picked up. Coming to stocks, and the Nifty surged for the sixth successive session, gaining 308 points to close out the day at 23,658. Despite stocks surging, the India VIX rallied 1.12 points on 9%. The NSE 500 small cap and mid cap benchmarks clocked similar gains. All of the 12 main NSE sectors gained, with PSU banks rallying 3.2% and media settling with gains of 0.1%. Nearly 3 stocks rose for every stock that fell on the NSE 500. The best and the worst performing stocks in the Nifty were Kotak Mahindra Bank, which rose 4.7%, and Titan, which fell 2.6%. For the day, resistance lies between 23,827 and 23,960, while support sits at 23,402. Our proprietary oscillator is overextended on the daily chart, while it remains firmly bullish on the weeklies. Speaking flows, provisional data showed that foreigners invested over 3,000 crores yesterday, sending the month-to-date outflow number to around 12,300 crores. On to derivatives, and the Nifty's put-call ratio went from 1.15 to 1.22, while that of the Bank Nifty went from 1.26 to 1.24. Nifty puts liquidated were slightly more compared to the liquidation seen in calls, and implied volatility fell around 45 basis points, which meant that on a net basis, bearish views were squeezed out for a second straight day. Looking at options concentration for the monthly contract set to expire on the 27th, the trackable range lies between 23,000 and 24,100, with significant additions seen at the 24,200 call strike and the 23,500 put strike. Near at the money call volatility rose more than similar distance put volatility, which meant that volatility traders also turned optimistic. Speaking net index options activity, foreigners and retail investors were bullish, while proprietary traders were bearish. Elsewhere, foreigners' net shorts and index futures fell by over 1,000 contracts to 95,000 contracts. Looking forward to the day, the GIFT Nifty was up 63 points at 7 a.m. Asian markets were in the green, led by Japan. US index futures were trading slightly down. Coming to stocks, HBL Power was at horizontal support, while ACC, IRCTC and IRFC were at horizontal resistance. Jindal Steel was at trendline support, while CEAT, Delivery and Exide were at trendline resistance. Speaking market breadth, 60%, 30% and 23% of stocks in the NSE 500 were above their 50, 100 and 200-day averages. Consumer confidence and home sales data will be released from the US later today. That is a wrap of the day's podcast. Please note that this podcast serves solely for informational purposes and should not be considered financial advice of any kind. For a comprehensive disclaimer, please visit our website. Thank you, and we will see you tomorrow at the same hour. Good day and take care.
Investments in securities market are subject to market risks. Read all the related documents carefully before investing.